On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks are in the news. What are the latest rumors around the Dallas Mavericks? We'll talk about that and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show and making Locked On Mavs your first listen each and every day. We are free and available on all podcast platforms, including YouTube, but the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and comment anything below. Let us know, what's a deal you want the Dallas Mavericks to make? A trade? A player you want them to go get? Be like, go get this guy. Say it in the comment section below. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. That's prizepicks.com, promo code LOCKEDON. And joining me, as always, my co-host contributor at Mavs.com, the trade deadline dash decadent dude, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Nick, on a scale of 1 to 10, Nick's day consisted of yesterday.
You can just tell
Nick,
what the audio listeners need to know how wry your smile is right now.
Nick blew out a tire on his car, was stuck at a rest stop for over 2 hours.
Literally the worst spot between Dallas and Waco. Like, where are you supposed to go?
Then raced home, got the ride home, raced home to get that Bengals L handed to him at Burrowhead. So tough day for you.
It was a bad weekend.
Can I throw something that happened?
It was a bad day in an otherwise good weekend.
Let me throw you something bad that happened
Mavs
to me
lose to the
make
Jazz too.
Okay, that sucked. Yeah, and the Lakers are a joke. Let me tell you something that happened to me to make you feel better.
Yeah.
So this horrible smell has been going on in our house.
Two toddlers under the age of 5.
Exactly. For the past, I don't know, 4 or 5 days. Can't figure it out. We've did all these different things to try to figure it out. You know what it ends up being? There's something dead up underneath our sunroom.
It's not a raccoon.
We have like a that'd be tough. Irony there. But we have some type of dead animal underneath our sunroom of our house that there's no crawl space to get to. So now we just got to wait for it to decay, and now it's smelling up our whole house. There's nothing I can do. If you know of anything to do, let me know, because I can't get to it.
You can't send a kid in there.
I'd like the kid to come out.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Let Isaac know in the comment section below. Let him know add him on Twitter if you know what to do if there's a rotting
Please let me know. I need help.
In your car crawl space. Today's episode, we're getting into all the different rumors around the Dallas Mavericks. Our friend Matt Moore had a piece where he had a couple of Mavs nuggets about the Mavericks, which is ironic. He hosts the Locked On Nuggets podcast. Are the Mavericks going to be sellers? Are the Mavericks going to try and shed some salary? What would it look like if the Mavs tried to shed some salary? And then Isaac has a bunch of fake trades that we're going to trade back and forth with some ideas that the Mavericks could do. So let's start with this. From Matt Moore, our friend via the Action Network, and then he's also host of Locked On NBA, Locked On Nuggets. The Mavericks have been fielding offers for their wings in an effort to upgrade. Tim Hardaway Jr. is the name most commonly mentioned. There were reports that the Mavs and Cavs had mutual interest in a Karis LeVert-Hardaway Jr. swap. But there have been some indications that Dallas may look to shed salary instead of looking for upgrades. How Luka Doncic would receive that in the short term would be something to watch, even if it opened doors for the Mavericks in free agency later. I cannot understand the mentality behind that statement. Like, if Matt Moore is hearing this from a Dallas crowd, like if he's hearing that from a Dallas perspective, to go and say, all right, instead of looking for specific upgrades, we're going to shed some salary so we can get some free agency going later. How many times has this franchise done this? I would go full angry fan on this podcast if they just shed Tim Hardaway or just shed Dorian or just shed, like for just nothing. They're just like, hey, we're cleaning up the cap sheet. We got to make sure that we have free agency money so that Luka can get, another partner here. I cannot get behind that as an idea or that as a mentality and going forward and like a plan for this deadline.
I mean, there's scenarios in which I could see. I mean, you wouldn't be upset if they shed Bertans' contract, right? Or
no.
If
there are instances, but you have to be getting something back. You have to be getting something of value and not just free agency money, because it doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah, to an extent. I just think there's scenarios in which there's some expiring contracts out there that, yes, you wouldn't be doing the deal as an upgrade, but you would be doing the deal saying, all right, we might take a slight step back, but you know what? We're opening up $30 million in cap, next summer or whatever it is. So
no, even that as I'm coming on this podcast right now. We have been if they
traded Russ for Tim and Bertans, you would be upset
and didn't re-sign Wood. And then you're like, all right, we're just going to go into the offseason. Our plan is to just go in. And then
no. I'm not talking about the Wood part. I'm talking about just the trade. If they announce tomorrow, it's Tim, Bertans, Dwight Powell for Russell Westbrook and no picks attached or anything, you would be like flame throwing on the pod.
I personally think that would be an on-court gain for the Mavericks at this point in the season. That's where that's where I am. So unless it's an on-court gain, you can't just shed money just for the sake of shedding money to give away pieces.
Okay.
That's where I am. If you're getting off of, Tim's salary, Davis's salary, and you're getting some stuff back, even some seconds or a young player or something. If you're getting something back, a playable player, then I may be okay, but just to shed money. This is what the report was. Their indication Dallas may look to shed salary instead of looking for upgrades, right? It's not an upgrade. It's just to shed salary. That plan and idea does not work in the NBA anymore.
Well, if you're going
to shed salary, you do what the Knicks just did this summer. You hire the guy's dad to work for you. You have the guy's godfather be the GM, and then you have that kind of connection. It's so strong. You're like, all right, now that we know that this guy is definitely coming, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to shed the salary then. You can shed the salary when it comes up, right? But you have to wait until you know that a guy's coming. You can't just shed salary with the hopes that someone's going to show up.
Yeah, I mean, it would suck if you gave up an asset, to shed salary. Or
yes.
You shed some salary that is a useful deal. If they just shed Dorian Finney-Smith, I don't see them doing that at all. That would be tough, just to get under, save more money or something like that. But I don't see them doing anything like that. I think if they do the shed money thing, it's them looking across the league saying, hey, Cleveland, you don't have to attach anything. Let's do Levert for Tim, and then we'll save money and or looking to find somebody else that's under expiring contract. They're like, we might not like him as much as Tim, but you know what? We're shedding money in the long term, so sure. So
the other thing Matt Moore said is Utah might be able to offer the Mavericks both sides, getting both things. I'm fine with both things as long as you're getting something positive out of this season. Short-term upgrades on expiring contracts, and Utah can absorb money. I'm not exactly sure who those players would be. I started looking at it and being like, okay, well, Clarkson is a player option next season. So maybe that's the one he's looking at. Taylor Horton-Tucker, player option after next season. That's another one. Rudy Gay, same thing. They all have player options after this season. Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a restricted free agent after this year. Beasley has a team option. So maybe those are the players that you're starting to look at for the Jazz and say, okay, if they can go get one of those. Clarkson, I think, would be great. Clarkson is doing all the things that we hoped Tim Hardaway Jr. would do.
Oh, Clarkson
on this team. He would be great on this team. Beasley, kind of the same thing. But yeah, I think that's what you're looking at. And those are the kind of deals you're looking at. But coming up, let's talk about some examples. We got a bunch of fake trades that I think we're going to go through. What are the pros? What are the cons? I got a couple that I talked about on Friday with the Orlando Magic. Go through those coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy, and it's made easy. You can get a 100% deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKDOWN. You just have to use the promo code LOCKDOWN for Prize Picks. You pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their Prize Picks projection, rebounds, assists, all that kind of stuff, if they get more or less than the projection, You can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. PrizePicks offers projections in any sport that you watch. I'm about to name all the sports. You ready for this? NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, PGA, college football, men's college basketball, women's college basketball, soccer, WNBA, esports, NASCAR, tennis, MMA, boxing, disc golf, Euro basketball, cricket, and more. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy, safe, and fast withdrawals. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com/lockedon to play daily fantasy sports. Again, use that promo code LOCKEDON. Get $100 back when you deposit $100. PrizePicks.com. All right, Isaac Harris, we got a bunch of fake trades to go over and just some ideas for the Dallas Mavericks to get some upgrades. Give me one of your ideas.
Oh goodness, you want to start with mine?
I'm ready.
Okay. So after the Utah Jazz game, the post-game pod, I teased at the very end. I was like, "Hey, I got a framework of one that I just wanted to throw out to you that we haven't talked about at all on this pod yet." So, what are the Warriors doing with James Wiseman, and should Dallas entertain anything? Brandon Windhorst. If Christian Wood doesn't sign the extension, or if Dallas not offering, however we want to word that, sure, and they look to trade him, and they call up Golden State and say, "All right, you have James Wiseman. At some point you got to kind of right the ship with that. We have Christian Wood. We're not bringing him back." Christian Wood would probably play for Golden State and be, they're one of their best big men.
Sink or swim with him and Draymond, right? Like, hey, if this is going to work.
But there's some scenarios like them playing, pick and pop and stuff with those guys would be some fun. But if they looked at it and said, all right, we're kind of just done with the Wiseman thing. We want a win now player, or at least, a better player than what Wiseman is. He can't even play for him.
Right.
And they called Dallas, said, hey, what do you think about this? Wiseman makes 9.6. So you'd have to look at something else to put in there. I originally had DiVincenzo in there, but the dude's been playing pretty good basketball of late. So I don't. Yeah, but then after that, it's like it's hard to find something, right? Like Moses Moody. I don't think they're doing Wiseman and Moody for Christian Wood, right? Like they're not doing that. So it's kind of hard. Is there anything that Dallas has that they would do a James Wiseman, DiVincenzo for Christian Wood and something else? And should Dallas even take the flyer on a James Wiseman?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing is what is Dallas going after? Because, okay, we just did the whole thing on, all right, we don't want planned powder. We don't want to go after the idea of a free agent. Well, you probably also don't want to go after the idea of a player either, right? The idea of what a James Wiseman could be. Do you want to go after a player that has not been realized yet? Because you need guys that can play now. And you need guys that are going to bring stuff to the table. I've gone on this rant several times in the show, but we can't do Luka will bring this out of this player anymore. Can't do that. That's every player on the roster but Dinwiddie, right? Every player on the roster but Dinwiddie is reliant on the things that Luka Doncic can bring to the table and what he can help them do. You got to start bringing in some...
bring or a seat at the table? You
got to start bringing in some players that can bring their own things to the table. Wiseman is not that player yet. He could become that player, and we've seen some good development from Josh Green and from some younger players under Jason Kidd, but you can't wait 3 years. You can't wait 2 years for James Wiseman to become that, right? We're kind of already waiting with the clock has already started with Jaden Hardy, and we're not seeing it. We're not seeing the time from him right now. And so, and for that reason, I'm out.
Okay. I'm not in love with it. It's just I've been looking around and all right, what's some things we haven't talked about yet that I'd be really interested in, or at least having the conversation. And I would be interested if they don't do an extension.
Yeah,
Give me one you have.
Yeah, so okay, I did a couple of these the other day with Orlando. Orlando's looking to move some players, and I think there's something there with Tim Hardaway Jr. He brings something to them. A long-term vet, a shooting guard that can actually play off the ball. They need guys that can play off the ball. Every single player on their roster feels like plays on the ball. You got Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner. Both can play with the ball in their hands. Cole Anthony, Markelle Fultz. I'm missing one more guard. Jalen Suggs. You have all these guards. You need somebody that can shoot and play off the ball. They don't have anybody on their roster that shoots more than 4.5 threes a game. Guess who would come in there and just launch a bunch of threes that those guards will open up for him? Tim Hardaway Jr. Okay. Tim Hardaway Jr. for Terrence.
Jamal Mosley connection too, by the way.
Jamal Mosley connection. Tim Hardaway Jr. for Terrence Ross and Mo Bamba. They may even buy out Terrence Ross. So he doesn't have that much of a price. Mo Bamba, a little bit more of an established, like the same types of things that you'd get with Wiseman. He can shoot better than him, but you're getting that big man flyer that can kind of fill that. Plus, you replace some of the scoring off the bench. Like, what's Tim averaging? Tim's averaging like 13 points a game. Terrence Ross can replace some of that, right? Like, he definitely can replace some of that. And so you don't lose a ton. Mavs get the scoring wing replacement that Orlando may lose for nothing. They get the big man flyer. And then Dallas is on the clock to decide if they want to re-sign, Mo Bamba and figure out what that would be like.
Yeah, I think I would do it just for the money alone because Ross is on the expiring contract 11.5, like you said. Mo Bamba at 10.3, and then he just has that guaranteed 10.3 for next year. So you take the flyer on Bamba and say, all right, could you be, I don't know, what? I know you said not to do this, but what could you look like next to Luka?
No, but what could he be? Just can he be defensively?
A Tyson Chandler starter.
What he would bring to the table is just shot blocking and some rebounding, right? Can he be
he can pick and pop too.
Can he be a competent starting? I'm just looking on the defensive end. That's what he would bring to the table. The other stuff, yes, Luka would have to help make him better for sure. But on defense, can he bring something to the table? Can he be better than Dwight Powell? Can you play the shot blocker role that they hoped JaVale could, but still have the foot speed to keep up with some of the rotating stuff that the Mavericks want? And so I'm interested now. I think I would do that trade. Would you?
Oh yeah, I think I would too. Yeah. Who has the better career long term? Mo Bamba, James Wiseman.
Well, I think Mo Bamba's got a head start on him, but Mo Bamba's going to be 25 in May. He's like a little older than you think. He was in Luka's draft, so we're kind of down the road. He like played almost 26 minutes a game last year for the Magic, but now he's down to 17. The Bowl kind of came and took his role.
I want to see Bamba on another team though. I'd love to see Bamba with like a point guard in the same vein as like Luka type that sets up the offense and all that stuff.
Yeah, at least that'd be a flyer that, what if he's hot one game? He's making a lot of threes. Or what if his shot blocking is really needed in a game? Like the Jazz game the other night. You play Mo Bamba in that game, right? Yeah. Where it's just Dwight and nobody else because everybody's hurt.
All right, I got another smaller one.
My other one is kind of the same deal. It's Tim Hardaway Jr. for Gary Harris and Mo Bamba. Same stuff we just said about Mo Bamba, but you get Gary Harris instead of Terrence Ross. So you get Gary Harris is actually not shooting the three ball as badly as I thought. Like I didn't think he was a great 3-point shooter, but last couple of years here, he's shooting like 38% from three last 3 years. So decent amount. And you get a better defensive guard, like another defensive wing. So all of a sudden you have, you replace Tim with Gary Harris. I think that's a huge defensive upgrade that you really, really need, and not losing a ton shooting wise.
Yeah, I feel like I need to watch a little bit more Gary Harris this year to have a full take on this, because right now I'm leaning towards no, but
you wouldn't do that? Mo Bamba and Gary Harris for Tim Hardaway.
I think I like Terrence Ross more than Gary Harris.
I would do both deals.
Gary Harris has that guaranteed money next year for 13. But
yep, you could. So to make it better for the Mavericks, you could throw JaVale in, be a backup vet for Orlando. I feel like they could talk themselves into that deal.
So it's JaVale and Tim for
Gary Harris and Mo Bamba.
Gary Harris.
Money works either way with or without JaVale, but it's better for Dallas if you throw JaVale in.
Call it in.
Oh, I'm in on that one.
Good.
Coming up, let's talk about a couple of smaller deals and some things that would net Dallas some assets. They need to get some assets so they can use in the future. We'll talk about those coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about TurboTax. Go to TurboTax and don't do your taxes. Meet with an expert who will do them for you. TurboTax experts can relieve you from stress of taxes and file for you so that you cannot do taxes. Show your eyes things that are not taxes. Unpack a moving box of not taxes. Taste not taxes. Sing not taxes a lullaby. Hope not taxes sleeps through the night. Grab a saddle and ride not taxes into the sunset. With TurboTax, an expert will do your taxes from start to finish, ensuring your taxes are done right, guaranteed. So you can relax. Feels good to be done with your taxes, doesn't it? Come to TurboTax and don't do your taxes. Visit TurboTax.com to learn more. Intuit TurboTax, full service products only. Video meeting while expert does your taxes required. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. All right, Isaac Harris, we're continuing to talk about some trades the Dallas Mavericks can do. We talked about a couple of Warriors options, talked about a couple of Magic options. Give me some more. Give me something where the Mavs get something back.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a smaller one, and then we'll move to a team I've been working with the most in the trade machine after this one. But let's talk about Denver real quick. So Bones Highland on the market.
Yep.
And they've been entertaining some stuff, looking for some help on the defensive side of the ball. So what if they called up Dallas and, hey, Denver's in ultimate win now mode. I mean, Dallas is too, but I mean, they're number one in the West. They're just looking for the finishing pieces to go for the title. So what if they called up Dallas and said Bones Highland, Conchar, and Jeff Green for Reggie Bullock?
Denver gets another wing. You get
3-and-D guy.
You get. I don't think you're getting Bones for Reggie Bullock though. The Mavs aren't sending anything else.
No, I mean, I don't think so either, but it's like, how serious are they about winning? Because I think Reggie Bullock for win now is definitely a better win now player than Bones if they're going all in for this year.
Reggie Bullock better as a win now player than Bones. Definitely defensively.
Yeah.
Definitely defensively.
They've been playing Bruce Brown as some of their backup, one and stuff too. So,
yeah,
I mean, if they're trying to trade him, I don't know if are you getting a first for him?
They should.
Are you really high on Bones?
They should get one, right?
Oh, you're really high on him. Okay.
I mean, one first is not that high on him.
Okay. I mean, I like him. That's why I would entertain the deal a little bit. I mean, get Conchar, Luka's guy.
I mean, I would absolutely do that deal if I'm the Mavericks. Like, yeah, you get Conchar, you get Bones Highland. That's great. Like, it's exactly what you get out of the bed. Denver's not doing that deal. Turning it off.
Okay.
You'd have to throw first. You'd have to throw Josh Green.
Oh, I'm not throwing. No. Dang. The Bone stock is high with you.
Well, I think that he's better.
How many do you got skyscrapers on the island? Did you invest?
But like
early?
You got to think about it from Denver's point of view that like he's their Hardy. Like he's their young guy that is actually.
But why are they shopping him? Anything I read about, it's like, hey, they want to pay Bruce Brown. They want more help defensively. So it's like, all right, why are you trying to? It feels like a win now team would want to keep him because he's on this cheap contract and he feels like he plays good off the bench. But
yeah, but you would say the same about Josh Green right now. And the Mavs are probably throwing him in some deal ideas just because that's the value they have to send to somebody, right? Like,
yeah. Okay, we'll move on.
I would do this deal. Would love Bones in Dallas. Great.
All right. I've been working with the Blazers a lot. Okay. And there's a couple different angles to this. I'm sure everybody's read the Blazers stuff of, hey, we're win now too. Everybody's win now. We want to build around Dame. You've heard that for a decade. And, everybody's on the market except for, Lillard, Simons, Jeremy Grant. I'm probably Shaden Sharp's off the market too, but whatever. We've heard, you see Nurkic's name, you see Josh Hart's name, pretty much anybody on the roster in that case, because they want to upgrade, switch out some parts, whatever. So tell me, I don't know if I would for sure do this, but just tell me what you think of it.
Okay.
Christian Wood and Tim Hardaway.
Okay. I'm on board.
Four. Nurkic, Josh Hart, and Nasir Little.
Oh, yeah. I think I would do that deal if I'm Dallas.
So if you're Portland, you get Christian Wood in place of Nurkic. You get a change up at the center spot.
Big change.
And big change up, different style, everything. You get a shooter in Tim Hardaway, different type of guy than Josh Hart. You might look at it and say, hey, we already have Gary Payton. Let's add Tim Hardaway to this. Tim can play with Dame, Simons. Christian Wood can play with those guys, pick and pop. Also expiring contract compared to Nurkic is on the books he just signed that extension.
Yeah.
So the Nurkic contract, I'm not in love with for Dallas. You do get a big body.
He can get.
You do
rebounds.
get a guy for the bullpen. Yeah, he can get rebounds. I think he could. He definitely could play with Luka. We love Josh Hart's fit in Dallas.
Great.
That would be a lot of fun.
He gets rebounds too. He is a really good rebounder for his size. Like you wouldn't think about it, but that's a big upgrade in that aspect too.
And then Nasir Little, he was a steal. He's you needed like $4 more million in that deal for Portland. It's either Nasir Little or like Justice Winslow. I just went with Little. But here's another form of that trade: Nurkic, Josh Hart, and Gary Payton for Christian Wood, Tim Hardaway, and Josh Green.
Oh,
what about that one?
I'm stuck on
How much do you think about that?
I know we're talking. You'd think about it for sure. I'm stuck on the Nurkic, like bringing Nurkic into Dallas. Because
I know I'm not in love with it
because of how Dallas wants to play defensively. Like how Nurkic hasn't had the best year. He'd definitely be an upgrade rebounding wise. He's an upgrade like post scoring. Well, I don't know if he's a post scoring upgrade over Christian Wood.
Are you doing that for? I mean, yeah. Are you doing that for the perimeter upgrade of?
Yeah, the Josh
like
Hart Gary Payton one is great.
Yeah, I mean Josh Hart, Gary Payton, replacing Tim and Josh Green. How do you feel about that?
I don't love losing Josh Green. I just think that I don't either. I think he's just become like what the Mavericks need. Like, okay, we need to stop. Like he adds things. He's not just Luka dependent, right? You see him you see him in some of these games when Luka's not on the floor, that he's driving and kicking. Like he had those 4 assists in the Jazz game that I thought were great. Like, hey, give us some more of that. We need somebody else that moves the ball. We need somebody that's fearless. We need somebody that'll has the foot speed to keep up with some of these guards in the West when Bullock can't keep up with them anymore. You know, like you need some of that. So yeah, that's tough. But you get Gary Payton who can do those things. Who can do those things too.
Yeah,
defensively, man, you have to give up stuff to get stuff.
I know that one really intrigued me. I could realistically see something like this happen with Portland.
Just really,
it's Dallas looking at it and saying, "Hey, Nurkic isn't the greatest fit, but we don't want to lose Christian Wood for nothing." Them looking at it and saying Josh Hart would fit great in Dallas defensively next to Luka and all of that, and saying, "Hey, let's make the swing on." You look at the contracts too. You know, Josh Hart is basically kind of expiring contract. Tim Hardaway's long term, Nurkic is long term.
Yeah, right.
You know, Christian Wood and Josh kind of are the expiring contracts in that. So I'm intrigued by that one.
The Nurkic deal is not good though.
No, it's not good. I'm not defending that.
He's making 15.5 this year, 16.8 next year, 18.1, and then 19.3. And he'll be 28, 29, 30, 31.
The fan base might freak out if they got Nurkic because we haven't seen somebody like that big down low in Dallas for.
Or how about somebody that big in Dallas
since Bogut? I mean, Dampier.
Oh.
Okay, here's a
Tyson.
smaller one, dealing with some names that we hear on the market a lot. But let's say the Bucks actually get Cam Reddish, and the Bucks get Cam Reddish, JaVale McGee, and a 2nd-round pick. The Knicks get Reggie Bullock and George Hill because they want Reggie Bullock. And Dallas gets Pat Connaughton, Hartenstein, and Ibaka.
Say it. Give it to me one more time.
So basically, Dallas would give up Reggie Bullock and JaVale McGee and get Pat Connaughton, Hartenstein, and Ibaka.
Oh, yeah. To get Hartenstein and Pat Connaughton, I think you're getting an upgrade there.
Yeah, I think so too.
The Bullock, Pat Connaughton is like, I don't know. That's probably an upgrade for the Bucks. But from JaVale to Hartenstein is a big upgrade. I don't care how much he fouls or how much he.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. Okay. I sent this to you the other day, and you're like, I'm surprised you would even do this deal because it helps out the Lakers. And all of that. But if the whole, Russ and picks, and they try to get Van Vliet, who looks like he's heading a clutch, Gary Trent, clutch, all of that. If they try to get those 2 players for the Russ thing, does Dallas try to hop in and be the 3rd team in this and say, all right, we will take Russ and a first. We'll give Toronto some stuff, but the Lakers have to take Bertans in this deal too. So here's what I came up with. Westbrook and a 1st-round pick to Dallas. The Lakers get Bertans, Van Vliet, and Gary Trent.
Oh,
I know, makes me sick. The Raptors get Tim Hardaway, Christian Wood, Lonnie Walker, and the 2027 first from the Lakers.
Raptors say no. They got to get more than 1 first and stuff.
But what if they think they're leaving, though?
For both Van Vliet and Gary Trent, though?
I'm just.
I think
It scares me with potential free agents.
But Van Vliet is playing chicken with them. He's done this before, where he's. It's like
so did Kyle Lowry, and he was gone.
All these they traded him. There all these trade rumors, and then all of a sudden they're like, all right, well, we'll just re-sign him to the extension.
They kind of traded Lowry though, but remember we all thought they were trading Lowry at last deadline. They held on to him past the deadline. We're like, whoa, they kept Lowry, and then what happens? He wants to go to Miami. They get Precious out of it. Cool, but. He's not. But they've lost all these people for nothing. So that's why I'm waiting to see if they
Van Vliet's just not getting that money in free agency. Like who has the space? Is it the Mavs who make a trade to clear dry powder and get to sign Van Vliet to a bigger deal? Like is that no? It's not right. I don't know. I mean, if I'm the Mavs, yeah, I would do that deal for sure. Like I think you're better.
Yeah. Okay. Out of the trades I threw at you tonight, which one's your favorite?
My favorite one.
I tried to cover some new teams. We haven't talked about the Blazers and Lakers. I mean, like we have talked about Lakers. God, what a joke! We got to touch on a Lakers point at some point. It's probably too late to Paul. Probably got to get off. Anyway, we've talked about the Blazers.
Lakers, the only team that the refs have been, like knocking some wins down. So
stop. No, I'm not gonna let you just make jokes about this. We gotta legit talk about this.
Okay.
It's one of the most ludicrous things I've ever seen.
I think the Bucks one is one of the most realistic ones. I like getting Connaughton and Hartenstein. I like that.
Baco's like thrown into
that 3-team deal where you're getting a wing guy back. You're also upgrading at big. Like, just need to.
Knicks get Reggie. They want Reggie. Bucks get Reddish. They've liked Reddish.
I think that's my favorite one that seems realistic.
I'm really intrigued by some of these Portland ones. I've been just stuck on the two-way trade potential. And because, once you get into the 3 and 4 team trades, they're not impossible, but it's just really hard to pull off. So that's why I've been stuck. There's some just very simple Portland Dallas trades that would be swapping the parts. It would be Dallas saying, we don't want to lose Wood for nothing. It would be Portland saying, let's get some athleticism next to, Dame instead of Nurkic, Christian Wood. Let's get some more shooting at Tim. It'd be Dallas saying, let's get some rebounding and some more defense in Josh Hart. So that's just the perfect type of, I don't think any firsts are in those type of deals, but it's a swap the parts deal that I'd be like, okay, I kind of see it for both sides.
Yeah, that's interesting. Let us know in the comment section below. Which trade did you like the most? Which player should the Mavericks go after? What deal should they make? Let us know in the comment section. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. Go listen to Locked On NBA Game to Game. The best moments from every game across the league from local analyzers with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Locked On NBA Game to Game on the Locked On NBA YouTube channel as well as the podcast app. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.